Hey guys, welcome to Food News, the one place on the internet where you can find information about food products, food sources, and much more about the world of food. I just want to begin this edition by talking about my rationale and logic behind starting something like this. Number one, we live in some very, very perilous times. I mean, I've been on this planet for a while, and I have never gone to the grocery store with my list all hyped up, to complete my weekly shopping or, get what I need, pick up an item and say, no way on earth I am paying this much for this. I remember, 6 months ago, it was half the price. So I put it back, look for something cheaper. Half the time I can't find it, so I just discard it and change my plan. And this happens time and time again. And it seems it's only over the past, few months or at least year this has happened. So we have to learn how to cope with stuff like that, because I don't think personally the times are going to change very soon. I mean, we have a lot to cope with. In Canada, for example, they are talking about introducing a 61 cent a liter carbon tax on fuel. And I'm sure related things similar to this are going on around the world too. Now, you might think, okay, well, this is going to affect me going to work or running the kids around or going to the grocery store, doing this and that. Well, no, not really, because that is going to have a direct effect on food. For example, the truckers who move the food and who transport the food have to pay more for the diesel fuel. Not the truckers or the company. The farmers have to pay more for the diesel fuel in their tractors. We have to pay more to run around, to get the food, to do whatever it might be. So overall, that little thing right there is going to have a direct effect on food. The war in Ukraine, so many things going on around the world that's going to directly affect food. So I don't think this inflation of food, inflation in general, is going to change. And that ripple effect is just simply going to be there. And I think it's going to be there for a while. So what can we do to cope? Well, change some of our recipes. Maybe change our way of eating. For example, instead of having that, steak or roast beef or whatever we enjoy so much, we might have to change that and have that once a month, once every 2 weeks or something like that. So we could look at making things like wacky cake. And that's something you can make really, really cheaply. Potato pancakes. Very easy to make, fills the belly, incredibly nutritious. Old-fashioned cornbread. You can make that with a couple of ingredients, extremely, extremely cheap. Chipped beef on toast. That was something that came out of the Great Depression. Made very inexpensively and very easy to make. Poor man's meal. Coffee soup, which is an Amish dish, made with basically bread, coffee, some cream, and some sugar. Hoover stew. Served in soup kitchens, way back when. So we can deal with stuff like that and we can cope and we can actually, produce meals a lot cheaper. I'm not saying that we can't have really, really good food. Sure, we can do that. We can every once in a while, but we can't have it every night. We have to make do with what we have and learn to stretch those pennies, I guess. I mean, maybe that's not for everybody, but I know certainly it is for me. Which leads me to the reason behind starting this channel and Cook and Share in general. Now, you might think the name Cook and Share. Okay, that means he cooks something and then he shares it. That wasn't initially my intention. My first intention was that, okay, cook and share. I cook some meals and then I do share them, as the name implies. But also the viewers cook things and they share them with me and I can recook them and things like that. In the 10 years I've been doing this channel, that really hasn't happened until lately, until I started producing budget meals. And people have been saying to me, well, yeah, that's great. I've been doing this and this and this as a budget meal. Well, I say, okay, email me the recipe and maybe, I'll try it out and maybe I can film it. So that's where it kind of becomes super exciting, where Cook and Share no longer becomes me cooking something and sharing it with you, but rather you sharing it with the community. So it's more of a community-based approach. And I really like that idea. So in each recipe, I will share the website. There's lots of good resources on the website. I'm going to make it so you can actually put recipes on the website. I'll have a look at them, and then we'll publish them. interact with me, email me the information about the recipe and the recipe itself, and, I'll go ahead and film it, and, we'll just kind of feed off each other and share recipes with each other. Another example of cook and share, I know one of my viewers, and a lot of you are like this, but one in particular that comes to mind is Steve Logan. He shares some valuable insights, and if you ever have time when you're watching one of the recipes to read the comments, Steve makes some wonderful comments. I keep thinking, hey man, where were you when I was filming this? Why didn't I think of that? And then it's not only Steve, but I think of other people as well that you say, well, I wonder about this, Dave, or could I do this with the recipe, or could I alter it in this way, or could I add this or take away this? How would it be? And I think, oh, what some great ideas coming out. So that's essentially what Cook and Share is about, is a community sharing with each other. So in order to get through these times, these very perilous economic times we're living in, I think that's a great way of doing it, sharing with each other. Okay, I did this to save on some food, or to balance my budget, or to make things easier, and then I can share them out there with the entire community. So that's kind of always been my philosophy to cook and share, and I want it to be more so even in these times we're living in. Although I've said all that, sometimes we like to go out. We like to go out to McDonald's, we like to go out to Burger King, we like to go out to KFC. And sometimes they introduce new products that you might not be aware of. So what I would like to do is share some of those products that, either they're offering specials on, or that were really good, or that kind of fit in with the budget, at least my budget anyway, and share those with you. So that would be part of our Cook and Share news that I hope to put out every Friday. So those are just some ideas of what I'm toying with Cook and Share. And I mean, some of those chains we talked about, like KFC, McDonald's, Burger Kings, they cross international boundaries. So if you're living in the United States, the United Kingdom, India, the Philippines, China, wherever it might be, there are still those chains out there that you could say, oh yeah, that's a new product. Maybe not necessarily within your country, but in general, if you know what I'm talking about. I'd also like to do I go out, and when I go out and eat, I'd like to share it with you. And that's my point of Cook and Share. I would like to make the channel more diversified. So it could be, I'm still going to share those 3 recipes a week, and try to make them as budget-wise as I can, et cetera, But I would also like to make some interviewing people, maybe some podcasts, maybe going out to eat, and of course, this newscast. So guys, if you enjoyed this, let me know. And if you want to see more content like this, let me know. And if you like what you saw, give us a like, because it does help us out. And most of all, don't forget to subscribe. And see you next week on Food News.